Good morning, students. Now we can start our lectures with the prayer as we do in our regular lectures. Ya kunde tushari har dhavalan ya subravastranvita ya veernavardandamandita या श्वेतपद्मासना या ब्रह्माच्युतशङ्करप्रभृतिभिः देवैः सदा पूजिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःश्रेयसत्यापः. Now in this unit we are learning for the events and GUI programming. These are the contents which is we learn in our GUI programming. We know that there are two types of the programming: conventional programming and event driven programming. Right? What is the conventional programming? Yes, it is look like our black windows command prompt programming, where we just give the example, enter the X, enter the Y, and repeat the some output. But we know that it is not useful, or it is not so easy, right, compared to our regular real-time application, and it is also not very friendly for our normal users, normal public, which is do not have any programming language. So what we can do? So in the real life, we use a GUI programming, right? Where we just have the text box, radio buttons, links, buttons, right? And that kind of the programming is known as a event-driven programming. Means user can perform the event like a change event, click event, right? Drag and drop events. So it is known as a event-driven programming, which is performed by the user. Okay. Now for that purpose, what we use? So for that purpose, we in the Java programming, we use the abstract window toolkit. So abstract window toolkit is nothing but it is a library of Java programming which is provide the supporting of GUI controls, right? And for that purpose, we use many libraries. But initially, when the version of the before the 2.0, right, Java libraries, it is known as a java.awt for the abstract window toolkit and java.awt event package. So these two basic package, which is initially we start the Java programming, GUI programming in the Java. If you have any problem, then we will discuss at the last 10 minutes, right? We just currently listens, right? You can ask your question in the chat windows. We also discuss at the last. So what is a library? So we know that the object class, right? Object class is what is our basic class, right? For the all the Java libraries, and component class is derived from the object class, and all the our GUI programming class is derived from the component class, right? So normally we divide all the components in the two kind of the control: button, label, checkbox, choice, list, right? So this is what generally visible to the users, right? To do the some input output process, to represent the some data, or to take the inputs from the user, or display our calculated output to the user. But another kind of the object, which is known as a window, panel, applet, frame, dialog. So this kind of the applet is not directly related with the input and output from the user, but we can put our controls, right? Label, checkbox. So it is collection of controls. So it is look like a container. So mainly we divide the components in the two parts. One is for the input output directly to the user, and second one is for the container, right? Container as a normal our button like create a window, create a frames, right? Create a structures. Indirectly these all are known as a our component, right? These are the what our framing structure provide our structure how we can arrange our control from left, right, tops, right? So this is the components we use for the structuring of our GUI programming. Clear? Okay. This is the one example, right? This is what is the new line? Import java.awt.star means whenever we require the components, right, derived from the Java library, we use this package. Another which is very well-known package after the 5.0 version, 1.5 version, which is known as java.swing, java x.swing. It is the extension of the AWT. Now, what is the swing package? So normally this GUI initially before the version 1.5, it is a very heavyweight, and it is also different from the platform to platform. That means if we use the same program on Linux operating system and Windows operating systems, so it's have the some lookout different, and it's also required the heavyweight process. That means it is a take a more processing times and more memory resources. In the Java X.swing package, it is a same output is the same button, right? But layout is what it is a lightweight, require the less resources compared to the previous version, and it is look and feel is the same. Look and feel is the same compared to the all the environmental. Maybe that means it is the same look and feel on the window and same in the Linux operating systems, right? Second important thing is what it is a class first. Our class name is first. It is a normal class, right? But it is extends from the frame, right? So frame is our old version, J frame is our new version. If we write over here J capital, J frame, then it is a our new swing package, right? We take in the example how we can do it, right? But now our class is not a normal class, it is become a frame. Frame means like this one. This is a frame, right? So it's look like a frame, right? Which have the minimize, maximize controls, close controls. Okay. Now this is what, so this is the same name of the class, means this is a constructor, right? We can construct our frame, what we like to look this inside the frame. So here what we use button. So it is an old version. If we put the capital J before the J class, then it is a new version, Java swing, right? Nothing but it is just change. Put the Java on the old controls, so it's become a new controls, right? Like a swing control, we will take in the examples. So what we are doing here, we create the new button, right? So we create the one instance of the button class, right? And what we give the name, click me. So whatever we like to show on the button, we just give as arguments. Now the button is created, but right now button is a independent. It is do not related with the frame. That means we need to put or bind this button inside this frame, right? If we have multiple frame, then we can define in which frame we like to put this button. Okay, what is the second line? So B means B is a object of the button, right? Set bounds. So bounds means boundaries. So what is the boundary? What is our boundaries? So 30, 100, it is the left and top. Means from the left it is a 30, from the top it is a 100, right? And what is the 80? So 80 is a width of the button, and 30 is a height of the button. Clear? 30 means left from the left side, 100 from the top side, 80 for the width of the button, and 30 for the height of the button. Okay. Now what we do, add B, adding the button to the frame. Or over here we can write the this dot add B. It is more clear. This means it is a current object. Current object is what? It is a frame object. Our class object first is a now frame. So we add the B in the frame in the current object, right? Okay. Second, set size means what is this? So this dot set size, right? We require the object always to call the function, but these are optional. So this dot set size means we set the size of the frame 300 by 300, 300 by 300, right? So this is for the not for the button, it is for the frame. This dot set size. this dot set layout. So we have the different layout, right? Flow layout, grid layout, button layout, right? We can change it later on which kind of the layout is available in the Java library, right? Most commonly we use a flow layout for the normal applications, but it is also grid layout is a good for the normal our grid, not 3 by 3, 4 by 4 like table, right? Border layout for the north, south, east, west corner like that. So which is we learn in the next steps. But right now set layout means it is follow the default layout, and default layout is the flow layout. That means we put the one control, second control is uh, put it near to the previous control, then next if width is completed then go in the next line automatically, right? That is what our flow layout by default we can say. Now this is the important line, right? Set visible. If we do not write this set size, then frame is executed, but it is look like a this one small dots. So that means it is a like look like a 0 0 size, right? Set layout by default is a flow layout, right? Set visible. So by default, when we execute this program, the frame is not visible, right? So we need to write this statement set visible true, right? In that case, now it is visible. This is what we just type the some initial code in our constructor, but we know that we need to execute the using the main. In the GUI programming we use the two kind of the executing. One is the main method, right? We simply create the object of our frame, right? And constructor will be show it, right? Or if we do not write this line in the constructor, then we can also write over here in the next line key f dot set visible equal to true, then it is also shown. That means we need to manually show the frame, right? Either we write in the our constructor or either we can write anywhere when we require. And second, when we use the frame applet instead of the frame, right? In that case we use the applet viewer instead of the our main method. In the applet program we do not write the main method. Instead of that, applet viewer is useful to show that applet. We take in the example, right? Go for the next. Okay. These are just example compared to the previous one. Swing controls, right? So Java X dot swing, which is available after the 1.2 version. Java X dot swing dot event, which is related with the event like a AWT. So it is a replacement of the AWT package, and this is a replacement of the AWT event. But many event right now it is also available from the AWT events, right? So event is mostly depend on the AWT event package, but the java.awt components, right, whatever which is visible to the user is mostly replaced by the swing package, right? And it is a lightweight components, look and feel is good as we discuss, right? It is inherited from the awt. It is similar like in frame to j frame, dialog to j dialog, applet j dialog. You just put the j before the every control, otherwise it is both are same, right? Programming conceptually it is awt component and swing component, both are same, but just a performance point of view in the backend it is a more effective. That means if we write the new code, then always prefer the swing control instead of the awt control, which is more useful, right? Okay. And similar example we just change over here, right? Check the look and feel, which is different from the previous example. Okay, now we can execute this example, right, in the NetBeans. New, right? We require to create, okay, suppose create the one new package for our GUI programs, GUI applications. In that package we create our first application, or instead of that taking the any examples we can check the practical list, so it is also useful to us, right? Write a Java applications to enter the two numbers into the two text field. That means we require to take the two text box and enter the two fields and display the sum in the third text field when we press on the button. That means we need to take the three text box button, like we put the some input the some integer value or float value in the two text box, and we need to display the answer in a third text box when we click on the button. Update the program for all the arithmetic operation using the radio button selection, and we can further on enhance that program, right, using the radio button. This is our target. We can take it step by steps. First we need to create the one class, right? which is derived from the either JApplets or JFrame. So suppose my frame, we take the one example, okay, or we need to create the arithmetics. So my maths, like that, okay, my maths. This is my maths class. Fine. Just I remove the redundant line so we can visible is good. Okay. Now I can also increase the some font size so it is visible to all, maybe related with the resolution issues. I can also post this code in after the completion of lectures for the study purpose. Right, over here we can change it. Suppose it is a 18 is enough. Okay, okay, okay. Now first we need to derive the our class from the JFrames. So what we write, extends, right, from where. So instead of that AWT control, we directly, because it is a new, so we use a JFrame instead of the frame. Now we need to import the JFrame, right? So from where we can import, so it is a java x dot swing. Okay, so it is imported from the java x dot swing package. Okay, fine. We write down constructor, right, maths. Okay, now what's it is a now frame. We need to set the sum. Initially we just like try to run these examples, what's happening, and for that purpose we can create the one class demo, right? Class, right, demo my maths. Okay, public static void main string argues. Okay, and just we create the object of my maths. Suppose m new my maths, and we execute it, right? We check it what happening. When we execute the first time, it's take a time. After that it is executed fastly. Right now it is started to execute, build successful, and now it is completed, and cannot, it is not shown anything, right? Right, it is no frame is over anywhere, right? We can check it. Okay, then what we can do, so we need to first, this is a frame but we cannot set as a visible, right? So this dot set visible equal to fill, right? Okay, now again we can execute, right? Now it is executed, right? Is there anywhere? Yes, this is what frame, right? But the size of the frame is what, 0 0, right? Check it, it is a what size of the 0 0. We need to set the size to the frame, but right now it is, we can just drag it. Instead of that we can check it. Right now we also need to close it. Okay, I already close it. This dot set size is also functions, right? Or size dimension is also functions. What is the size, right? We need, if we need to study anything, we just give the dimension d, or we can width and height. So suppose 300 and 300, right? Again we can execute and we check it, right now it is with the default size. Clear? So this is what minimum requirement whenever we use any applet program or And in the update, we do not require to set the visible. In the frame, it is required. Now our target is what? To put the one button. Okay, so we can create the, instead of button, we use a J button, right? J button, and it is from the Java X dot swing. Yes, we need it. It is automatically imported. Right, to button B equal to new J button, right? And we give the string as our argument. So click, fine. Okay, now what is the, we require to set the size of the button. Set size, suppose, what is it? It is a 80 width and 30. It is also possible in the one dimension, but it is good for the taken as a different, right? In the bounds, in our example, we use this one, x, y, width and height at the time, but using that change of, right, sites, and we can also take the example of the locations where we can, and using the flow layout, then it is, we do not require, it is defaultly held as a flow layouts, right? Mm, now we can, but right now it is button and frame both are separated, right? So what is our target? Our target is we need to put this button in a frame. So frame is the current object, this dot add b, right? Before executing, I can just comment this line and execute and test it what happening. Yes, frame is executed, but the button is not showed over here. Now again I can execute, right? Now button is there. Okay, okay, but size of the button is not like this one. Why is this like this? Set, I use it, oh, suppose 50 50. Let me check it. Okay, we need we missing the one line. What is it? We need to set the flow layout, right? We can type anywhere, set layout, right? Right now we can set as a null, or we use a flow layout, right? Okay, clear? Now we can set the 50-50 left, top, width, height, fine. Okay, now what is our target? We can first take the some more syntax, and then we can go for the next, right? Where is our lecture site? In the PDF. Hmm, okay. Right, what these are swing examples. We create the one button, right? Okay, instead of the constructor, we can create in this way. We can directly create the one blank frame example, button example, right? Set bounds is clear. We can also take in this way, which is we write code in the main instead of the constructor. So either we can first create an object and then set the value, or we can put in the constructor, so it is automatically created when we create the, right. Now what is the difference? This is from the exam point of view, or for the interview point of view. AWT is a platform dependent. That means it is a look and feel is different in the window and Linux, right? Java swing is the same. It is a heavyweight, require the more processing power, more memory. It is a lightweight, require the less compared to the AWT, right? Pluggable look and feel, that means runtime we can just put the controls and look and feel is the good, right? So it is not more compatible, it is a more compatible. Pluggable means runtime we can add and hide. Less component than the swing, that means it is a more richest component, less group which is not available in the AWT. And MVC control, model view controller, which is not supported by the RTL, it is supported by the swing controls. Okay, Now we are focusing on the events. So just put the text box. We can also take the one more examples over here. What we are doing, just to create the, I can just put this line below, right, for the clarity. This is a part of the framing. This means for the frame, right? We can add the button in the frame and then exit. These are just coding for the buttons. Now our target is to create the three text box, right? So what is the, for the text field, right? In the Java programming, it is not a name of the text box. It is a name is a text field. J text box is a different for the multi-line. J text field, right? Text area for the address like that, multi-column, multi-lines. Text field, suppose it is a T1 new J text fields. And initially we require the text box as a blank, so we do not require to put the text. This is what first. We also need to set the size, or we can directly try to add this one. All right. Over here, before the button, we need to, right, this is a text box. Now we, before the button, we can add the text field. So what is the size? We can change the size, and we can also try to doing this later on. Instead of this one, size is the better for the flow layout. So this dot add T1, right? We will discuss the complete code after executing. Now text box is not visible, right? So we can set the size. This dot add T1, right? But instead of writing over here, we can put this over here. We already write it. We need to set the size. Set size, not T1, T2 dot set size, right? What is, again, we take the same size for the button text box, so it is good for us for a look and feel, right? We create the text box, create the button, then we add the text box in the frame, we add the button in a, over here we can write add text field or text box, right? Text box in frame, otherwise it is not displayed. Add button in frame. Over here we can just prepare the text box, right? Over here we just prepare button. Okay, now we execute. It is visible or not? Right now it is visible, but do not, button is not available, right? So we can set our dimension as we doing. So set bond, right? We put the text box. Suppose we take over this one, so middle of half of this one. So we have the 30 width, right? So 30, so that means we can start at the 150 from the legs, right? And from the top we just doing it taken as a 10. Okay, and same we can put it over here, set bounds, right? So again, alignment, we require the, if we require the same alignment, then this one, otherwise we can reduce after the taking the next. But we require the three text box, right? So suppose we put the 10 gap, text box size is 30, means 40, right? Again text gap, second text box 40, again gap, again 30, so 40, right? And again, so 40 and 30, and approximately it is a 130 for a look and feel, right? We can change it as we required, we can check it, right? So this is what gap is a 10 over here, width is a 30. Again we put the 10 gap, second text box 10 gap, third text box 10 gap, and button. Okay, right? Okay, and over here we can check it. So it is a multiple instances running, right? We can stop, and actually when we stop the frame, we require to stop this instance automatically. How we can do it? So we write the one more line, right? This dot set default exit, right? One exit method is there which is automatically close our instance. Close default exit or like that. Is there any keyword? Where is method? It is a line override, that means it is a deprecated old method. It is not recommended for the new coding. Set auto request object component. Yes, this one. Set default close operation, right? So what is the our? It is a nm define it, right? Frame, and it's have a default to exit on close option, right? So what happening when we execute these applications? So it's create a one instance, right? Our demo, and it is a create a frame, right? Now when we close it, so this instance is automatically stopped. We require this one is stopped, right? This one is the previous one, okay, right? So we required in the every frame applications, we write the last statement is this one. Okay, now we require the more two text box, so we can just copy the code, right? We change the name text box 2, right? Same size, but we can put the our top from the top. We require the more 40 means 50, right? We need to set the size 50 and 15, 40, 90. We can set it as we require, right? Okay, and we can check. No, it is available. No, we need to add it over here. Otherwise, it is not visible. Add t2 this dot add t3, right? Okay, now we check it, right? Good. Okay, now we need to put the some information before here. Suppose like number 1 or number 2 or x or y or name, mobile number, address. And for that purpose, we use up labels. So means we need to prepare labels before the text box on like that. Right? So simple it is look like a j text will j labels, right? L1 for the T1 new, or we put the some more useful name like a j label name or like that, right? We need to put the some text, suppose number 1. Okay, we can like this ones. Okay, it is a string, right? I just write it as a open, which is not allowed. Okay, label. Now we can set the size L1 dot set bonds. So what is the bonds? So from the left, so right now it is a 150, but we can put in the over here. So suppose we take initial, we take the just 10, then we take from the top, so it is similar to the T1, right? Because we require for it is a T1, so T1 is a 10, so we require the 10 width. So we take the same initially, we can change as we required. Okay, this is our label 1. We create the 3 labels for the 3 text box. This is a label 2, label 3, right? Label 2, label 3. Over here we also change it, number 1, number 2, and now this is a result, right? Clear? Okay, now we need to add this one, T1, T2, T3. Okay, now we add the label this dot add L1, L2 and L3. Right? When we copy paste, we need to change it. Otherwise, it is not executed properly. Okay, but it is what right? Yes, we do it copy paste, but we cannot change it. Second text box at the 50 and third text box at the 90. So 50 and 90. Okay, now we again execute. Okay, good. Right now it is required. Otherwise, we also change it working. No, we require the more nearest. Then we can just set over, or you can also from left to right. Alignment is also there. L1 dot set alignment, right? For X alignment, or anything else is there? Which is more alignment is the more better option, but you can change it if so, or we can set the properly size. Then it is also good for us, right? So what is alignment? So this is a floating label dot right, bottom, right, center, top, height, left or right. We require the right option. Okay, for the second label we can also doing the same thing at the right side, and for the third label we can doing on the right side. We can check it. Okay, it's not happening. Why it's not happening? Okay, we initially we can take this. I suppose it is from the 50 50 50, and we can reduce over here. It is just 40 width. Okay, 40, and now 40 and 50 is what? 90. We have the 150, right? So we over here suppose 100, right? Total distance is 150 on this to the center line. We can change it as we required, right? So it is a more nearest, we can just shift it more. Okay, now the important thing is when we click on this button, right, we require the some calculation. Suppose over here we can type 2 and 3, and when we click on button we expect the 5 over here, right? Summation initially. So how we can doing it? So for that purpose, this is known as a event, right? So event is what? So we require the click on the button first, right? That is what known as a action. We need to change, we type, so it is a click or typed events, right? When the focus over there, the focus or lost event. So that means we depend on the control, action is performed. When the action is performed, we need to do the something. That means the our event source, our button is what? Our button is what? Which is a source of the event, which is who create the event. Now second one, middle one is the listener, right? We need to someone check that event key, what time kind of the events performed by the user, and we do the some specific operation according to the our events. Okay, so that is the role of the listener. Listener will always check button is clicked, okay, it is single clicked or double clicked. If we can click on the drag and drop, we click on the text box, we type the text value in the text box. So everything is done by the listener, and according to the our events, performed events, single click and double, it is called the different function, which is known as a handler, right? So main three component: action who perform the events, listener who observe the events, and handle who perform the events. Matlab, we execute the code according to our events, right? These are related with the our basic package awt event class is there, and awt event is derived from that. Action event on the click event, adjustment event on the scrolling, components event. We check it one by one as we require the examples. We go for the next. Is according to our class. Initially we have the button, for example, right? So when we click on the button, the event is generated is a action event, right? And listener is a action listener, and other one is related with other kind of the controls. That means every controls have the different events, right? So we cannot use the only just event for the all the controls. Every control have the different events. We can check it as we required. Initially, when we click on the button, right, we need to perform the action event. Okay, so applet cycle we can take in the next lecture. Right now we check the event, how we can doing the events, right? I close this extra windows. Okay, now we need to perform the events. For the event we require the action. So again, implements, right, one method is available for the everyone. So we need to implements, right? Which one? Action listener, right? Otherwise it is not possible we can do it. Or uh, we can also doing it as a separate class. Right now for the simplicity we can doing over here action listener, right? Otherwise it is good we can put in a separate, so we can use for the multiple time, right? We implement the action listener, we use the implement keyword. That means that action listener is an interface. That means action listener have the one method as a abstract, and we need to implement that method, right? To implement all the abstract method, if we do not have any knowledge of that, only action listener have only one method, right? I just hide this constructor over here, action listener, action performer. So when we click on the button, right, we need to call this function action performer. It is calling by the automatically by the JVM. An action event is a source. It is related with the object of the button, which have the every information. Which button, if we have the multiple button, then which kind of the button is clicked? Button 1, button 2, button 3, right? It is a single click, double click, right? What is the location of button events? Our suppose we click on the mouse, so over the frame where we click it, the location of the frame, every information related to the events is available in the E, right? Right now, suppose right now we just require the addition of the two text box, but we create the text box object inside the constructor, so it is not available. So I just put the reference outside the class, so it is available easily in the third, right? We require the text box reference, so I put it over here, right? Just reference we create over there. That means the declaration is outside the, it is look like a data member, right? So it is easily available in the other function. Otherwise it is available on only this one because it is behave like a local. Now we need the value, right? So first when we click, right, to get text, but it is written as a string, so means we need to parse this value, right? String v1, it is available as a, so we need to convert in a integer, right? It is our number one. So how we can, it is an integer dot parse int v1. Okay, similarly we do for the second text box, our value v2 from the text box t2, right? Number t2 integer v2. Okay, now number we need to be available to our result is what, n1 plus n2, but now we need also to display this result in the third text box, so t3 dot set text, right? So result, it is automatically converted in a string, so we do not require, or otherwise we need to convert in, then we write the to string, or it is a string dot value of, string dot value of, so it is automatically converted in the string, right? You can check it. Okay, but we can write the one function action performed which we like to call when the button is clicked, right? But we cannot inform to the button, right? So over here button b, we can add the action listener. Yes, add action listener, this is important, this is a binding statement, right? And where we write this function, so we write the function in the same class. Otherwise if we create the another class and function is there, then we create the object of that class. So that means these are object where we define that function, right? And that function, this dot action perform, it is called by that object. So calling this function, we require the object, and that object we pass in the action listener. Okay, you can check it. Right, 2 3, now click on the button, 5 is there. Clear? Okay, so you can observe this code. We will just summarize this code for the today's lecture, and next onward we can discuss this one. But if you have any doubts, you can ask me, or in the put in the chat window, or in the right. So I consider that question in the next lecture at the previous times, and then we go for the next. Initially, what we do in the today lecture, we create the JFrame for the creating the GUI applications, right? And we can create the text box object to display the text box. We use a set bounds for the framing XY location and width and height location. Similarly, we create the button object for the display purpose, right? Button only just to display the information. We cannot take the inputs from the user. We use the text box for to take the inputs from the user. And we also create the J button, right, to perform the some action, click, double click, or like that. And to this is the first step. First prepare our object, right, as we look in the frame, then add that object in the frame. This is the important task, otherwise it is not visible, right? And this is a basic related with the frame layer, which is required only once. And this statement is the when we close the frame, we need to close our instance. And we add the one more thing, implements action listener. So it is related with the events, right? According to the events, action listener is different. Item listener is event, right? Mouse event is listener, mouse motion event listener. So different listener is available according to our implements. Clear? And for the action listener, we need to define the one function action perform. That means when we click on the button, our action perform is executed, right? And this one is executed. So what we type our code here, it is related with our logic. It is not important. After preparing frame, we create the object of the frame, and it is visible. Okay, so I think you can understand. If you have any questions, you can ask me in the chat windows, right? Or you can also call me if you still you have any doubts, right? Tomorrow we can also start our lectures at the 9 o'clock. So be present if you like, and if you require any understanding GUI programming. Okay, so now over here I can just minimize over this one, right? And if you have any question, then you can type in the chat window, right? I will be consider check it, right? If you have any question, you can ask question at any time after your preparing content related to today's lectures. Also give your feedback so we can improve our methods. I can also post this video in the later on, right? So if when it is available, it is uploaded, I can start the recording, right? But still, if you have any normal question, you can ask, or we can stop the lectures after the 5 minutes, so you can go for your next lectures. Okay, I'm mute to all. I can open it for all. Hmm. Okay, now I unmute to all. So if you have any question, you can directly ask me, right? There is not an issue.
સર નેક્સ્ટ લેક્ચર આ જ આઈડી પર હશે કે બીજી આઈડી એન્ટર?
એટલે એવા એપ્લિકેશન જો આઈડી ચેન્જ નહીં કરે તો આને યાદ રાખશું, અથવા હું ક્રિએટ કરીને તમને છતાં વોટ્સઅપ તો કરી જ દઈશ.
ઓકે. અને આની રેકોર્ડિંગ તમારી પાસે હશે?
એટલે હાલ આપણું આ લેક્ચર જેવું હું એન્ડ કરીશ એટલે આ એપ્લિકેશન રેકોર્ડ કરી દેશે, બરાબર? અને રેકોર્ડ કરી હું ચેક કરી લઉં કે રેકોર્ડ કરી દેશે. હું કાલે મેં ડેમો ચેક કર્યો તો એ રેકોર્ડ કરી હતું. તે જેવું રેકોર્ડ કરશે હું પછી એમાં જો સાઈઝ એની ચેક કરે, જો અપલોડ થશે તો તરત જ હું આપણા ગ્રુપમાં કે બીજી કોઈ રીતે તમને મોકલી દઈશ.
ઓકે
બરાબર.
અને સર આગળ ઘણા બધા થોડા ટોપિક મતલબ છૂટી ગયા હતા, તો કોઈ રિવિઝન નું કોઈ લેક્ચર હશે આગળ?
હા, આપણે લઈશું. તમારે જે રીતના જરૂર હોય એ રીતના કહેજો, તો આપણે એ પ્રમાણે ટોપિક પ્રમાણે પણ લેક્ચર પ્રિપેર કરશું. બરાબર. હાલ જે ઇનિશિયલી એક્ઝામ પોઈન્ટ ઓફ વ્યૂ બધી રીતે જે ઇમ્પોર્ટન્ટ ટોપિક છે, ધારો કે GUI ના પણ આપણા લગભગ 2 પ્રશ્ન તો હોય જ છે, તો આ 2 કન્સિડર આપણે કરી લઈએ. બરાબર. તો એ તમે એના પર પ્રેક્ટિસ કરી શકો અને આગળના જે કોઈ ટોપિક બાકી હશે એ પણ આપણે કન્સિડર કરી જ લઈશું.
ઓકે સર.
બરાબર. તમારે જે કંઈ ટોપિક જરૂર હોય ખાલી મને મેસેજ કરી દેજો, તો એ પ્રમાણે પણ આપણે એક આખો લેક્ચર એ પ્રમાણે હશે તો એ રીતનું એરેન્જ કરી દઈશું. બરાબર. પહેલા 2-3 લેક્ચર આના પર જે ઇમ્પોર્ટન્ટ છે એટલું આપણે પૂરું કરી દઈશું. એનાથી કોઈને પ્રેક્ટિસ કરવી હોય તો પછી કરી શકો, કારણ કે GUI મહત્વનું કહેવાય આપણા માટે. કોઈ પણ પ્રોજેક્ટ તમે બનાવશો તો GUI વગર પ્રોજેક્ટ નહીં બને. બરાબર. એટલે ઇનિશિયલી આ ટોપિક લઈ લઈએ હાલ, પણ જરૂર પ્રમાણે છે એ પ્રમાણે કોઈ પણ આગળનો ટોપિક ભલે આપણે લીધેલો છે તો પણ એ ફરીથી રિવિઝન કરી શકશું.
ઓકે.
બરાબર. ઓકે. ના, જે અત્યારે ડેમો આપણે જોઈએ એ પ્રમાણે ટ્રાય કરવાનું. આ કોડ પણ એવું હશે તો હું વોટ્સઅપમાં મૂકી દઈશ. બરાબર. પોતાની રીતે નાનું મોટું ચેન્જ કરીને ચેક કરતા રહેવાનું, એટલે કામ થઈ જાય. નેટ પર સર્ફિંગ કરશો તો ઘણો બધો કોડ મળશે, પણ ખરો થોડો સમજવાનો પ્રયત્ન કરવાનો. બુક્સ હોય તો સ્ટેપ બાય સ્ટેપ વાંચવાનું, એટલે વધારે ક્લિયર થઈ જશે. બરાબર. ઓકે. ને જો કોઈ પ્રશ્ન ના હોય તો આપણે વાઇન્ડ અપ કરીએ ને. બરાબર. તમે ફ્રેશ થઈ જાઓ. જો તમારે નેક્સ્ટ લેક્ચર હોય 10 to 11 o'clock એ તમે અરેન્જ કરો તો પ્રેક્ટિસ કરો. ઓકે.
ઓકે સર.
ઓકે. થેન્ક યુ. થેન્ક યુ ટુ ઓલ.